Let's take a look at some politics. And ahead of Saturday's rerun legislative elections in Rivers State, Governor Nyesom Wike has again raised alarm that his chief security officer has been withdrawn. The governor, who also claimed that there is a plot to assassinate him, defied the reins and took the campaign for his party's candidates to 3 districts of Kana local government area. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ere reports.
Cultural dancers ushering in Governor Nyesom Wike to Kana local government area of Rivers State. The governor is here to drum up support for his party's candidates in the legislative polls, as well as flag off the renovation of schools in the 3 districts of Babe, Kenkana and Unyo communities. A former chairman of a local government area who spoke on behalf of the people assures the governor and his team of their full support.
And when we say we will do a thing, we do it. When we say we don't want to do anything, we will not do that thing. So, Your Excellency, today, on behalf of my people, I'm telling you that all our candidates will be delivered and delivered well. Thank you.
Addressing the people under the heavy rain, the governor says he will go the extra mile for them.
BRD Memorial Grammar School, BMGS, will be one of the schools we use as a pilot study to bring back the boarding system. Go to BMGS today and see what is happening.
Kana local government is one of the council areas that will provide the needed votes for either the PDP or APC to win the election. So political analysts expect a tough contest here. But above all, security operatives will have to secure the area and indeed all other local governments where the election will hold to allow a peaceful and fair contest. Emmanuel Ere, Channels Television News.
And speaking of securing the area, the Nigerian police has deployed 20,000 officers for the Rivers State legislative rerun on Saturday, December the 10th. Speaking at a forum in Abuja, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Ibrahim Idris, explained that the police would collaborate with a joint task force to ensure free, fair and peaceful polls. He also said that he'd be in Rivers State to brief the national security team that will be involved in Saturday's election.
Of course, you are aware of the rerun election in Rivers. I think this is the next challenge we are facing. And by the grace of God, just as we did in Ondo, we did in Rivers. We started deployment of officers. The DIGB is going there, I think, by today. And I'll be coming there by Friday or when I was on Thursday, to address the men. As we did in Ondo, all those CPs that are surrounding Rivers, I want all of you to be around on that Thursday when I'm coming, so that we can jointly address the men. And during that address, just as we did in the Edo and Ondo State, I want the military, the civil defense, all these paramilitary forces to be around, so that we have a sort of a unified, we understand each other in the conduct of this election. It's very important. It assists us in the past, and I think it's going to continue to assist us. We need to work together.
All right, now let's cross over to Abuja. Here's Ibrahim Adra. Ibrahim.
Many thanks, Ejoma. Now we begin with some bit of good news. The news editor with Radio Benue, who was abducted from her residence in Makurdi, the state capital, has been narrating how she regained her freedom. Mrs. Jill Toagbidie told Channels Television that she ran away from her abductors after spending 3 days in captivity. She said her kidnappers had demanded for ransom and threatened to kill her if the specified sum was not paid.
I saw that at a point they gave me that kind of liberty to escape, so to say, because initially they were always very close to me, but this particular day, the guy that was always with me had moved away, so I thought that it was an opportunity for me to escape. I actually escaped. I think it was in the afternoon. I actually ran and went and hid. I didn't see people around. I met some women. I told them that was my dilemma. They told me to go and hide. But I later got to understand that it was a syndicate. They were part of the group. They kept telling me that somebody, the kidnappers, kept telling me that somebody was feeding them information about our every move. That they knew what we were doing at every move. They know us. Throughout that day, nothing happened. They said they've been trying to communicate with my husband so that he would give them what he wants. He asked me whether he could give them 500 million. I said he didn't have that kind of money. They asked what of 100 million. He said no, he didn't have that kind of money. So they started negotiating with him. That's what he told me. And one night into another night, they were discussing. Sometimes they would connect me to him, tell him to cooperate. But they assured me that they won't harm me. But they now told him that if he doesn't give them the money, they will kill both him and myself. But eventually, I thank God.
The United Nations Development Programme has affirmed its support for initiatives aimed at empowering women across Africa. At a forum in Abuja, the UN agency said Africa is being threatened by cases of gender inequality. It also called on public and private organizations to expand capabilities and opportunities for women to sustain human development.
The last declaration on gender equality and empowerment in Africa was made in 2003 in Maputo, Mozambique, a declaration that set a high pace for gender mainstreaming and equality in Africa. Although there has been progress and positive inflections on gender matters since then, 13 years after, the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, is out with a Human Development Report asking that much more be done to bridge the gender gap on the continent.
Yes, it's increasing, but not with high speed. If you look at participation in the labor market, the gender gap is costing the continent $95 billion and reaching 104 in 2014. Now, if you do your calculation, $95 billion of a GDP of the continent of 1.7 trillion, it means that we're losing, by not closing that gap, 6% of GDP. It is huge.
There is rise in human development around the globe, but this is threatened in Africa by gender inequality. This 2016 Human Development Report is set to address that, crucially with the help of the African Development Bank.
This Human Development Report presents 4 broad pathways that will lead us towards gender equality and women's empowerment. But we also wanted to look forward at the ambitious agenda that we have as the African continent in Agenda 2063 and 2030. And we wanted to pick on 6 key accelerators which would help us not only achieve gender equality as a human right, but also look at the multiplier effect that gender equality has across all the other goals.
The strategic partnership with UNDP would enable us make better use of some of these instruments.
The key message from this launch is that Africa must make gender a priority on its agenda if it hopes to achieve sustainable and progressive development, tackling institutional norms directly and making critical gender choices and investments. Omelogo, Nadi Channels Television News.
Thank you very much.
The Minister of Sports and Youth Development, Mr. Solomon Dalong, has described reports which trail the death of some serving Youth Corps members as misleading. The minister was addressing officers of the National Youth Service scheme in Kano. According to the minister, the NYSC scheme can be improved upon, but it will not be scrapped because it remains the nation's primary instrument for national unity and integration.
The collective soul of individual families wounded as the weight of new loss now bears down heavily on the back of an overburdened system. It was in a solemn assembly that the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Suleiman Kazaure, announced that reports of gross negligence surrounding the death of a corps member in Kano were proven false by an independent investigation. The NYSC Director General declared that the death of Rachel Oladipo in Kano State was as a result of a kidney infection brought on by an untreated urinary tract infection, saying that she received 24-hour medical attention daily and never once participated in physical activities at the camp.
At this prime time of her life, Ms. Oladipo was expected to make her greatest contribution to the deployment of Kano State and Nigeria in general.
While the corps members' untimely death was not for lack of attention, the lack of dialysis equipment and other advanced detection facilities in nearby hospitals proved complicit in the final outcome.
I will appeal to the various state governments who have constitutional responsibilities of providing these facilities to update the facilities in most of the states in order to accommodate these young Nigerians who are serving.
Imploring all social media users and citizens to seek the truth, the minister affirms that if NYSC officials had been found wanting, the government would have done everything possible to bring erring parties to justice. In the still air of a moment of silence, a cruel irony was person. The foremost national tool of cohesion would play an unfortunately prominent role in the tragic separation of close family members and friends.
And when the news at 10 returns, President of Bankers' Body says the foreign exchange market lacks credibility. That's on Business News. Stay with Channels Television.